to welcome you to BIVA's trading floor. Today, we are honored to receive a key figure in the global ETF industry, Deborah Furr, managing partner and founder of EFTGI, on a very special day as we celebrate the 7th annual EFTGI Global ETFs Insight Summit, Latin America, in partnership with BIVA. Thank you and welcome, Deborah. EFTGI, founded in 2012 by Deborah, has become the leading independent research and consulting firm covering the entire global ETF and ETP industry. Its global reach and depth of analysis have made it an indispensable source of information for issuers, asset managers, institutional investors, and regulators around the world. For BIVA and the Mexican market, ETFs are highly relevant. Currently, there are more than 1,600 ETFs listed on the SIC. Over the past 2 years, the ETF's trading volume has represented around 37% of the total volume of the Mexican market. And only in 2025, we proudly reached 45% market share in SIC listings, which come from many of the top global asset managers. So given this relevance, EFTGI stands as a key ally in delivering timely insights and supporting decision-making across all stakeholders and all of the capital markets. So Deborah's career has played a key role in promoting transparency, expanding access to information, and supporting the growth of the ETF industry. At BIVA, it's a true privilege to welcome you today, Deborah. Thank you for being here.
Well, no, it's a privilege to be here with you, so thank you for hosting us again. Really appreciate those kind words.
Thank you, Debbie. So let's start with the big picture, if it's fine for you. How would you describe the current state of the global ETF industry today?
So the ETF industry is 36 years old, so still quite young. And at the end of April, we were at a record $21.9 trillion of assets. So that is the highest we've ever seen. In terms of net inflows so far this year, we're at $853 billion of net inflows, which is also a record. And if you look at the embracing of ETFs, a good measure is we've had 83 months of consecutive net inflows. So think about everything that's happened basically over the past 7 years. Every month, more money is coming into ETFs.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I think if we look at the other thing, today we have 16,600 products with 32,000 listings, and there are 1,400 issuers of ETFs on 86 exchanges in 66 countries. So it's really very large and dynamic. And really growing faster now than it has been. If you look, in the past 3 years, we saw the assets double. In the past, it took 4 years for the assets to double.
Amazing, amazing. And talking about investors, where are investors putting their money right now, and what does it tell us about their sentiment?
You know, that's a great question, because I think you really, if you want to understand what's happening, you have to look at clients here that are retail are more interested in money market type returns. Other type of investors, because you have the Afores investing, right? So that's one thing that's unique about ETFs. They're democratic products. So you have hedge funds, pension funds, financial advisors, and retail, and everyone has different reasons for investing, right? And what they want to invest in, so whether it's someone wanting to invest in crypto or the US market. And I would have to say, the majority of the money has been going into the US market because the S&P 500 as a benchmark has seen very good performance. So if you look, an interesting stat, there are now 104 S&P 500 ETFs with $3.9 trillion invested in them.
Amazing. Wow.
So S&P is very popular. I think NASDAQ is also, when people want exposure to the US, also popular, but much smaller in terms of the amount of money. So you see some people going back into emerging market debt. Some people are looking at going into active ETFs, which is popular in the US.
Right, and it's growing a lot.
Yes. So I think it's really diverse, but index exposure is still winning the majority of flows. But that doesn't mean people are not taking active decisions, because they use the ETFs as building blocks to get alpha through their asset allocation.
Completely. And what do you think are the key forces driving this continued growth in the ETFs?
You know, it's an interesting thing, because we talk about retail, and what we're seeing is regulators around the world have realized that many retail investors are not investing. So when they think about retirement, they're actually putting money into bank accounts, like cash ISAs in the UK or in Europe. So we have about $3.3 trillion sitting in bank accounts in Europe that should be invested. We have about $500 billion sitting in bank accounts in the UK. So we're seeing governments and regulators rolling out financial literacy programs to tell people why they should be investing, because you're not going to be able to live at the standard of living you want to if you expect the government to be able to support you. So I think that's been a really important thing. I think the other would be the transition of wealth from the older generation to the younger. We're seeing that younger people are investing more in ETFs, and I think that's a popular trend. I think active ETFs is causing more asset managers to convert mutual funds into ETFs or launch new products. I also think that we're seeing model portfolios where ETFs are the building blocks being embraced. And then I think digital assets is also an area that's growing in many markets. So I think ETFs are moving into, and something we discussed earlier, private equity. So I think people are trying to wrap everything into the ETF wrapper to make it easy for retail investors to get that exposure.
And to participate and have returns.
Exactly.
Great. And about issuers, who are the dominant ETFs issuers today, and how is the competition evolving?
You know, it's an interesting question because I mentioned there's 1,400 different issuers. BlackRock iShares captures on its own $6 trillion.
Wow.
And then if you look at Vanguard, they capture $4.7 trillion. And then the next one would be State Street. The SPDR ETFs is just about 2.2 trillion. So if you add them together, they are capturing about 58% of all the assets. So I think what you find is, and it's interesting too, because if you look at the trends, iShares has 1,299 ETFs, Vanguard has 229, and State Street has 329. But if you look at the net flows, this year, Vanguard has captured already 209 billion of net inflows, iShares 194, and State Street 57. So I think, you know, having products that the ethos of Vanguard has been low cost. Many of the issuers have launched beta core vanilla products that are low cost, but I think many people have migrated to the ethos of low cost because over the long run, investing in lower cost products delivers better returns.
Amazing. And well, finally, what is your outlook for this ETF industry over the next 5 years?
My view is the ETF industry is still early in its growth, and we're seeing it grow around the world. If you look at the fact that we've grown and doubled in the past 3 years, we could see the ETF industry globally getting to, in the bull case, $60 trillion by the end of 2030. If you look at the US, it could get to 41 trillion, and active ETFs could get to 6 trillion, which clearly you use here in Mexico. Many of the ETFs from the US or from Europe. So that growth, I think, is really an impressive thing. And I also think tokenization is going to become an important product for many people to allow, especially in emerging markets where it's expensive to have a brokerage account, if you're able to do everything on your phone and a wallet and have something where you go to the store and tap and pay.
Completely.
So I think it's
real inclusion.
Yes.
Right?
And it's an exciting place to be. I've been doing this for 29 years, but I still love it, and it's fun to travel, meet people like you, and experience what's happening in every market.
Thank you, Debbie. Well, it's been amazing to talk to you, and let's go to the desk for the
Great.
closing ceremony.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.